fans, and welcome to another episode of Silver Screams. Tonight we are talking about Scream Queens Thanksgiving, episode 10?
I'm really glad they didn't call it Thanksgiving.
Thank God, because that movie it's so funny because I've never actually seen it. I've only seen other people review it. And just the bits from it that I've seen, it's just like, wow. I watched Hellraiser Revelations over the holiday weekend, and even that I would take over Thanksgiving. Really
the cat's doing laps around the place right now, so if the tripod falls over, it's probably
it better not fall over.
It probably won't. She has a very high agility score, but if anything happens, it's probably...
Should we get some sandbags just in case? Anyway,
sandbags will all be bigger than she is.
So basically, long and short of it is that it's Thanksgiving at the Kappa house, and all of the Chanels, as well as Grace and Zayday, all go their separate ways, but all end up coming back for one reason or another. And I'll be honest, my very first knee-jerk reaction of this episode is actually, I find it very endearing.
Chanel called it. I'm sure I can redeem myself in the eyes of everyone, she says, looking at the audience. And lo and behold, by the end of it, we were like...
All of your eyes.
Yeah.
And yeah, she really did. And I've got to say that there are two main things I want to say about this episode. And the first is that it was very endearing and very sweet. And it does remind me of, when certain Thanksgivings go awry. I do wish that there was a place that I could retreat to. Luckily, I've had very, very few bad family Thanksgivings, but they happen, and it would be very nice to be able to retreat to somewhere and have a real Thanksgiving.
We don't want to repeat of Thanksgiving 2008, now do we?
It was actually 2006.
Was it? Oh, I was quoting the show.
You were. My worst Thanksgiving was Thanksgiving 2006. That was an awful Thanksgiving, but so I think back on a Thanksgiving like that, and I do wish that when stuff like that happens that I could have just had Thanksgiving with my friends. And that's what Kappa House has become for all of them. It has become the place where they can go when their families don't seem to want or care to have them around. And that's so sweet.
Pretty much. I mean, Grace and Zayday decided to stay because, we couldn't leave the house alone, and investigative reporter boyfriend, whose name continually escapes me. Pete. That's right. Decided to stay because there's murder afoot, but just about everyone else is like, I was rejected by the world, and so I returned.
Yeah, and we didn't even get...
for Dean Munch, who's like, you guys have the best cooking facilities on campus, and you never eat.
Well,
Please don't fry the turkey.
On the one hand, that's what she says. On the other hand, who does she have to celebrate the holiday with?
She did say that her ex-husband's family disinvited her because they're still suspicious of her, and rightly so.
Because she murdered him.
For good reason.
None of these people have anywhere to go. And so I found it very sweet that they found a family with each other. And the other thing I wanted to point out was that this episode was essentially what we were doing last week in terms of, well, it can't be this person. This person's exonerated because of this evidence. And I think it's either Grace or Chanel. And the moment that her dad actually singled out Grace and went, I think you're the killer, I was cracking up because I was like, I'm pretty sure this is exactly what we were doing last week when we taped, is we were going through and trying to deduce who it could be, since we thought Hester was dead.
Are invalid because Hester is alive now. And I honestly think they also set up the pieces, more so in this episode than anything else, for Chanel number 5, because, I was going to go home, and I went home, but my family decided that they were going to go Maldives, I believe, somewhere
away
without telling her, and so no one knew that she was coming back, and it was just all very convenient. I'm like, yeah, but then we had the bit at the beginning with the, you have to do your cover story. So the two people that we had arrive late were number 5 and Hester. So I'm still running with the theory that it's Hester, but it could be anyone.
And not
Winter agrees.
Right, Winter? Not to get too far ahead, but I do concur that I believe it's Hester. Based on the promo for next week, though, I believe Hester has also roped somebody else into it since she is now down 2 partners. And because we get that shot of the Chanels in the mall.
And a red devil.
And a red devil running around. So I still think, I still think Hester, I almost called her Chanel number 6.
Well, she is.
She is. But I still think Hester is the sister that we know of. Because she looks like Boone. She's still alive, and she still has a bunch of...
Hester and Boone.
Who named them?
I know, right?
I mean, Grace... I mean, she lucked out.
A little bit. This family's messed up. Can we talk about him being the dad?
Yeah, let's talk about Grace's dad, because one of the things that Pete dug up, he was able to obtain some of Boone's DNA, and because he was suspicious of Grace's dad, was able to bribe a government official to run a DNA test
using
with drugs.
weed. Yeah.
With drugs. She might be a murderer, but I love Dean Munch's commentary on everything. It's pretty
that's
fantastic.
Not what you're ashamed of. And the thing about DNA tests is you can't just run a strand through the machine and say, and who are they related to? It has to be, here's this, compare. Which is why you have so many stories about, well, who are my real parents and who is this? And
you do nothing
because you can't just magically put it in the machine and they'll tell you, oh, it's Bob and Sue and they live in California. You have to do matching. So
he broke into Grace's dad's house to obtain DNA samples.
But there's good reason for this to not have come to light until now, because there was no reason before now for anyone to do that sort of match. So,
well, and I'm pretty sure that prior to everybody finding out that Boone was still alive, and yeah, there was absolutely no reason, because the Red Devil had never left any traces of him or herself behind anywhere.
Aside from blood on a fork.
Yeah. Which that evidence was promptly disposed of. Which, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that was a very interesting revelation, and
Do you think Gigi knew?
I think she does, because she knows who both the children are, and she was actively pursuing Grace's dad as a romantic interest. And Boone made a point of saying, as much as you like to pretend, you're not our mother. And because of this traumatic event that she suffered from the 90s and also felt the need to seek revenge for, I could totally see her seeking out these children's father to try to make her family.
But it's still one of those things where she also would have had to run the DNA test, or she would have had to witness the initial act between the two 9 months ago and know about it somehow.
Well, and the girl didn't know at the time. The girl didn't know she was pregnant, but Gigi has shown that she is stupid like a fox. And again, prior to that reveal, nobody thought that she was the mastermind behind this entire scenario, and she's had 20 years to do her homework. There's no way that she doesn't know about...
Didn't know.
Yeah, or didn't. There's no way that she didn't know about the connection between Grace, Boone, and Hester, potentially.
Chanel number 5?
Everybody's innocent until proven guilty?
They're all Red Devil killed. I would love for it to be like the final ending of Clue, where everyone did something. But this is how it really happened. Like where everyone did.
You're talking about the final ending of Clue, where everybody.
The one that's canon.
So who did I kill?
Really shouldn't have been.
Who did I kill? My butler. Oh shucks.
Yeah, the one that's the canon ending that really shouldn't have been, because the Miss Scarlet one made more sense.
And the Miss Scarlet one is the best.
Oh yeah.
That's the one that makes the most sense. And to be fair, they wrote themselves into a corner. But the Miss Scarlet one made the most sense, and also was just awesome.
So yeah, that's I know it's not gonna be that way, but it's been a long weekend, you guys. But I would love for it to be like that ending of Clue, where literally everyone has blood on their hands. Well, we know that like Dean Munch is the only one who wasn't a Red Devil killer, and we know that she murdered someone. Everyone else was in the costume at least once for at least one thing. One of the Chanels turned the burner on and got Miss B killed, and one of them killed the ice cream guy, and just, you know, everyone did one murder.
Well, that would
be hysterical.
That would make sense if there was a, you know, because for a time this costume was readily available to a lot of people. And actually that would explain a lot of inconsistencies as we think of them. And we were talking about this beforehand, but I even suggested that it was possible that Dean Munch murdered Gigi instead of Hester. Instead of the person at the very beginning who she was having Thanksgiving breakfast with.
Though it was heavily implied that that electric knife was... And I was watching this with my mom, because my mom likes Scream Queens. Hi, Mom. And she called that Gigi was going to die at that point. And I went, no, she's way too important to the story. She has too much information. She's going to last... Like, I thought Gigi was going to last until, like, the final episode and be killed then. Whoa. And... Nope, the second they started making it, they're like, I thought the turkey would be a lot heavier, and I went, oh, shoot.
Yep.
Mom called it.
I will say that I was a little wary when she handed the Red Devil the electric thing, and I was like, they're holding on this for a reason, but I honestly stopped thinking about it until they started talking about the turkey, and then I'm like, oh, it's gonna be Gigi.
That also means it has to be someone in the house.
Yeah.
But then again, they made a very big point of gathering literally all of the usual suspects into that house at the same time.
I've gathered you all here this evening because someone at this table is a
turkey.
Wait, what did I say? But yeah, so I actually posed the theory that Dean Munch actually killed Gigi instead of the other twin. Although, let's be honest, I would not trust the other twin with any sort of sharp object after they stabbed their brother in the chest. I wouldn't trust it at all, ever, no.
It's an honor among thieves sort of thing, but at the end of the day, you have to remember that they're thieves. And this isn't like the Ankh-Morpork Thieves Guild where it's regulated. They're thieves. So in this case,
is this behavior, like, condoned in the Assassin's Guild?
No.
I didn't think so.
Oh my god, no, you don't kill your own. Are you kidding me? The Assassin's Guild only kills for money. Otherwise it's murder and the watch takes care of it.
Oh. For those of you who don't know, we're referring to Discworld.
Discworld novels. They're by Sir Terry Pratchett and they are amazing.
The late Sir Terry Pratchett.
Do the thing.
He is amazing.
Do the thing.
He was a gift to literature. Anyway, to get back to this episode, so let's talk a little bit about everyone's Thanksgiving, because before everybody came back to Chanel number 3, she comes home and she has a far worse home life than I imagined for her.
We hadn't really heard a lot about her family. We knew that they were the Swensons for Swenson Frozen Dinners, and yes, that is a reference to Swanson. We got it. And that she was supposedly Charles Manson's kid. Well, her dad's a jerk, and her mom straight up says, yeah, you know, your dad's been drinking ever since he found out that Jay Cutler was starting for the Bears this morning. So, yeah, just don't, you know. Your father loves your brother much more than he loves you, so to keep the peace, you just have to take the blame for everything. And that's... Yikes.
Yeah. Like, and even when she says, Daddy, can I sit by you? He's like, nope.
Well, and I was watching this with my mom, and she pointed out, wait, if that's his dad, then how could he be Charles Manson's kid? I'm like, no, Mom had an affair.
Yeah, no, they made that very clear.
Before they got married, or probably not, but something.
Which makes it very, as you pointed out while we were watching the episode, makes it very clear why Dad would like the brother better, but at the same time...
because brother is his, and she is not.
Yeah, and this is assuming that the affair story is true. The Charles Manson thing might not be true, but the whole affair thing is most likely true. That the Charles Manson thing just might have been something made up to sort of make it fantastical for her, or to help her explain why she is the way she is, or to help explain bad things that keep happening to her.
But you would think if they were gonna make up, oh yeah, this person's your dad, then it would be like the How I Met Your Mother with Barney. Was it Pat Sajak?
No. Oh, no, it was Bob Barker. Bob Barker.
Saying,
Yes.
"Oh no, that's your dad," and
but she's using
it.
She's using it to rationalize everything bad that's happened in her love life. So she's using it to rationalize why she feels so broken. And
I'm talking about Mom making it up.
Well, Chanel number 3, I think, did the research, and she was the one that came to that conclusion. It's been a while since I've watched that episode.
Yeah.
So it could be that her mom made that claim. It could also... But I feel like she was the one that came to that conclusion. Like I said, I'd have to rewatch. But I feel like she was the one that did the legwork and came to that conclusion. She's also the type of person that came to the conclusion that Boone was a ghost, instead of the much more logical, he faked his death. So we've seen that she is the type of person that will latch onto a certain idea
and just go with it.
To explain something in her own life. Like she thought Boone was a ghost and was haunting her specifically because she wouldn't let him pledge. You know, that sort of thing. And that may be kind of narcissistic, but at the same way, it's a way of dealing with guilt. It's a way of dealing with things in your life that seem unfair. It's a way with dealing with, why do I date somebody who said he was going to cut off my ears? You know, things like that.
Or the flashbacks we got from the year before were obviously before that because she wasn't wearing earmuffs at the time. Still couldn't see her ears because her hair was down over them, but she wasn't wearing earmuffs. So
Which,
it's like, oh.
I'm still astounded that Grace wanted to pledge after being at that house, because they said you're skinny and pretty and so that's good, but you better be super rich, and then kicked her out. And this was also after hearing the way, overhearing the way Chanel was treated. And I do want to say that I loved that flashback, just that moment where the two of them stare at each other for a moment and then part ways. It was very like, oh, they're having a moment right now.
Well, and Chanel's fashion choices made a lot more sense back then.
Yeah, no, she was a lot more outlandish. And I want to ask what your take on this was, because Chanel has made a very big deal out of the fact that she is rich and that her family is rich, but that her main objective being in the sorority is to land a super rich husband. And Chad's dad pointed out that her fashion choices seem desperate. And on the one hand, he could just be being a jerk. On the other hand, he does make a good point. She likes making a spectacle of herself in a way. And so I'm wondering if maybe Chanel's family is not, I'm sure they're totally well off, but maybe they're not as well off as she would like everyone to believe. Like, by her standards, they're losing money, they're poor, even though, like, compared to us, like, they'd still be super rich, but right now they're in the lower half of the 1%.
I would disagree. I just think fashion choices are weird.
Well, and it's also just that Chad's family is just awful.
Yeah, I really think that it's Daddy Ragwaldy. And of course she dresses for Pay Attention to Me. She's the
Chanel.
president of Kappa, and she's Chanel, and she has people that she has assimilated and named after her and then assigned them numbers. So, yeah. And she's trying to impress the family. But her version of trying to impress comes from a very twisted home life with her parents.
Drunk on wine is still drunk, Mom.
That was wonderful. But it makes sense that the Pay Attention to Me would come off as desperate, because she does want them to pay attention to her, but that's her basis in it is very, very different.
Very, very
I do love the Radwells came over on a small, lesser-known ship 30 years before the Mayflower came. I'm like, I'm sorry, are you an entire family of hipsters?
Apparently.
We did it before it was cool?
Well, and, God, Chad's mom is just, on the one hand, she was hilarious. On the other hand, she was just
in an awful sort of fashion. The sort that Ryan Murphy is very good at.
Yes.
Disturbingly good at.
Yeah.
I worry about this.
Speaking of Chads, I do want to point out that Chad Michael Murray was in this episode, as was Patrick Schwarzenegger.
Was he the other one?
I don't know if he was the other Radwell or if he was somebody else, but I feel like he was the other Radwell.
I do love that it's Chad, Thad, and Brad.
and I do love that he is an agent, and anybody who's watched Agent Carter knows that Chad Michael Murray grew up he doesn't have like boyish good looks anymore. He is very much a man, and he looks good. But it's just so funny that he's playing an agent who is benefiting off the hard work of good, honest Hollywood folk.
You give them a bad name. And so, you know, if you're not in the industry, you're like, oh yeah, that's kind of funny. Everyone knows Hollywood's messed up. But if you're in the industry, it's like,
yeah. So funny. To Hollywood. Follow your dreams, kids. Anywho.
Follow your dreams, but mind the roads.
Mind the gap. The wage gap.
77 cents to the white man's dollar.
I'm sad now. Anyway, back to the episode. So to get back to the episode, Hester shows up unexpectedly, tries to convince the family that she is in fact pregnant with Chad's baby, and of course that goes over about as well as you would expect.
Like a lead balloon.
And for some reason, both she and Chanel feel the need to stay because they both want to win Chad over. And so they both stay for the family round of Pictionary, which has pitted the two of them against the entirety of his family. And
he sees no problem with this. Like, well, the teams are a little unfair, but them's the breaks.
Yeah, and it's either that he doesn't know that his family is being awful or doesn't care.
Well,
because
he's dumb as a sack of hammers.
But he's surprisingly articulate and intelligent.
But he's still dumb as a sack of hammers.
That's also true. He's very smart at packing, though.
He has... we're going into D&D terms here, but you have a score, you have your modifiers. He has a low wisdom score and negative modifiers, but that doesn't mean you can't occasionally roll a critical success. Just the odds are against it. So he succeeds, but that doesn't mean he's good at it. And he was also raised in this family, so this to him is probably very normal behavior. And he's very insulated in the Dickie Dollar Scholars, is that what it is?
Yeah, his fraternity, whatever. Is there even anybody left?
I don't know.
Does he have any surviving brothers? I mean, Earl Grey is dead, Boone's dead.
I think
everybody's dead.
I think the twins are dead. Nameless NPCs of the group are the ones that are still around. The extras. We're wearing nice little sweater vests and sitting in the back.
I don't think there are.
No?
I don't think there are any left.
I had some.
I'm pretty sure all of his fraternity brothers are dead.
I feel like that would have come up were that the case.
Well, I mean, he was kind of... I mean, how many people know that Earl... Well, he should know that Earl Grey's dead at this point, but he was also told that Hester was pregnant and then was kind of, you know, taken aside by Chanel to say, no, she's not, let's go to the Hamptons. So I don't know if he knows yet that Earl Grey is dead, so who knows. But yeah, point being is that I don't think he has any fraternity brothers left.
I think he's got some NPCs kicking around.
Oh, man.
But either which way, he was raised with this behavior in this family, so for him this is normal. And unlike a lot of people who go off and have the college experience and meet new people who think in different ways, he's still very insular. He's still within this group of relatively like-minded rich people who think the same way he does, and he interacts with the Kappas who are relatively like-minded rich people who think the same way he does. And, or if they get fed up with his behavior, they always keep coming back because he's attractive or rich or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's coasting on his good looks and his money. So he didn't really have that college experience of going out, developing as a person, and then coming back to your family and going, oh,
what we
this
do
is super different than what I think now. He never had that.
That's
and
very
so
true.
he's still in there going, oh, okay.
My family's awesome, is what he says.
Their money insulates them because you see the same thing with both of his brothers as well.
Yeah, and So they engage in this very, very, very mean-spirited round of Pictionary where I assume his mother tampered with the Pictionary card so that it would be neck brace whore.
Instead of horse.
Yeah, and so, instead of, yeah, race horse or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so his entire family proceeds to just rag on Hester for that entire round until they finally get to neck brace whore.
Because the brothers are trying to guess, but Mom and Muffy
should have left hours ago.
Should have left hours ago. Too chunky to wear that outfit. She's like, oh my god, you guys.
They were awful.
And then Chanel trying to be a rules lawyer. That was a gesture.
That was clearly a gesture.
It wasn't a gesture, he's pointing.
That is a gesture! But I gotta say that, and this is the scene where Chanel truly does win the audience back over.
Oh.
Because she goes, I might have tried to kill you in cold blood, but what I've witnessed here today is far worse than any attempt on your life.
Our sisterhood is stronger than one attempt on your life. And it's just like...
And Hester's ability to forgive her, again, kind of makes me think that she is the other Red Devil.
But she's also unstable.
Very much so.
Is the epitome of unstable.
That's what I mean, though, is that an attempt on someone's life is not a big deal.
Oh, that's true.
To an unstable killer, absolutely not a big deal. Oh, you tried to kill me? No big. I tried to kill you guys like 6 times.
It happens.
It's a big deal.
It happens.
It's what sisters do. We're sisters. That's all I've ever wanted was to be your sister.
I'm gonna assume that that is not what sisters do, but I don't have any. So
yeah, I've never had a sister either. So
I do have sorority sisters, and I'm telling you that attempted murder was not part of the program.
I don't.
I know.
Because I assumed it was. No, there are a lot of reasons I didn't join a sorority, but that's another video for another day. And by video, I mean none of anybody's goddamn business. Anyway, but point being here is that Chanel does 100% win the audience back over by apologizing for pushing Hester down the stairs and by standing up to her and by tearing down each and every one of Chad's family members.
Your mother looks like a last season ostrich clutch that learned how to talk. Like, dang, girl.
I feel like nobody's ever talked to them like that.
Oh, no.
And I would hope that Chanel would never have to acquiesce to anything that they have to say ever again, because they're even worse than she is. And they're the type of family that make her look good. What the hell kind of family is that?
Well, the fact that she was so quick and ready with those insults, and kind of has been all season, makes me think that that's what her mother throws at her. The kind of long-winded, really snappy, really awful comparisons. She's good at them. That kind of stuff is difficult. I kind of just like to, if I'm going to be creative, I'm going to call someone a useless trowel or something like that.
I would love to see Chanel in an improv class. Just, you, say what the first thing that comes to your mind. This game is stupid, and you're all stupid, and I'm too rich for this.
It would be a full-on analysis of someone's outfit.
It would be great.
That's what it would be.
But anyway, so the two of them, and I love the look on Hester's face, too, when Chanel gets up and leaves. Because we've just seen her be berated for the last, like, 2 minutes. And so to see somebody...
It's hard to watch as an audience member, just like...
And no, anybody who's been embarrassed or been made fun of can 100% identify with what poor Hester is going through. Even though Hester is also crazy and just an hour earlier was trying to make all these people believe that she was pregnant with Chad's child. So let's not pretend like Hester is a saint in any of this, and we do still believe she's the Red Devil. But like, that's still hard to watch. She's still a person with feelings, and she does, in her own twisted way, love Chad. So that is heart-wrenching to watch, and even Chanel can recognize it and knows that it's wrong. And when Chanel can recognize that something is wrong, that's when you know it's really, really bad. So they leave and head back, and that's when we have the big Thanksgiving together. The only other thing I can really think about pointing out in terms of this episode is that I loved the mystery style of like, this is why you might have done it. This is why you might have done it. This is why you might have done it.
I love them calling the dean on her allergy, because Chanel number 5 made an 8-meat stuffing that includes, it's like beef and ham and rattlesnake and alligator,
spam.
and then at the end it's spam. And, you know, the dean's just happily munching away on it, and they point out, 1, Chanel number 3 saw her eating a bologna sandwich, and 2, those sulfides are present not only in the spam, in the stuffing that she's eating, but also in red wine, which we've seen a few times.
Copious amounts of that, but
if you're allergic to those sulfides, you're not just avoiding lunch meat, you're avoiding a lot of stuff.
So they've basically called her out on being a potential suspect to her ex-husband's murder. Yeah. And as we as the audience know, she did commit. Which again,
I still want to see her end the season behind bars. Like, I love her, she's fun, I still want to see
that would be what she deserves. I don't want her to die, because her beating up both Red Devils and Justice Scalia was fantastic. So I don't want her to die, but she definitely deserves retribution of some sort. I'm not sure this is a series that punishes the wicked, though. I think
just murders them off.
Well, that would be punishment. I'm not sure that everybody gets their just desserts. We only have 2 episodes left. So it's entirely possible that everybody gets their comeuppance. And I'm assuming that with the next Black Friday episode, and then I'm assuming that the next episode is after the Black Friday one, is a Christmas episode? I have no idea.
That's a pretty quick turnaround. Holiday season. I mean, I don't think they're going to try and theme it. I think they're
Chanelmas.
I think they're just going to wrap it up.
I hope so.
I don't think they're going to try and go... They might, because of when it's airing, because the Thanksgiving one did air right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But
and this one's airing right after Black Friday, yeah.
But it's kind of hard to justify the time skip between Black Friday and all the way to Christmas.
That's very true.
And we have a campus that's shut down and essentially evacuated. So I think we might get a little bit of Christmas because, oh, it's December 1st or it's the day after Black Friday or whatever. Put your holiday stuff up because
given that we've only got 2 episodes left, it makes more sense for it to just be a wrap-up episode.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have a Christmas focus.
Yeah, it would be kind of nice though.
Maybe. Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be a thing that occurs.
No. Point being is that now that we've gotten to this point, there are only 2 episodes left. And again, the next episode is a Black Friday one, and they've made a point of showing Hester and the Red Devil separate. And again,
Chanel number 5 as well. It's all of the Chanels go shopping. And then, oh, what's that? And there's the Red Devil over there. And it might just be creative editing for the preview.
That's very true. So it's entirely possible that it is just Hester working on her own. She might be cured of her scoliosis now because she laid down on the meat locker for some time and that lowered the swelling in her spine. Science?
Of course. Don't you know anything about science?
I'm not sure this show does. But anyway, well, I mean, they made a point of pointing out that
it does have twins.
Well, no, it made the point pointing out the whole baloney thing and everything like that. So
it uses as much science as it needs to get away with things.
And it's just so funny because all of a sudden, anytime an observation like that is made, I was looking like, was that a Chanel talking? They are surprisingly smart when they want to be.
Again, you can have a negative score and negative modifiers for some things, and that doesn't stop you from rolling the occasional critical success.
Point being, my main prediction, as I mentioned earlier, is that Hester is the Red Devil and that she's looped somebody else in to help her now that she is without 2 partners. And whether she killed Gigi out of spite because she felt like she had, which it doesn't necessarily make sense that she killed Gigi because she had to kill her brother unless she was planning on killing the both of them anyway. So either she's looped somebody else in to help her with these murders for the now that she doesn't have any more partners, or it's that she needed somebody because somebody else took away the only remaining partner that she had. That's my guess.
I'm okay with that. I'm also kind of leaving the back door open for Chanel number 5. Because they kind of made the point of doing that this episode, and I know the whole thing with the car 2 episodes ago doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Doesn't.
But I feel like that was more for the audience's benefit than anything.
I will
still say the only character that we've 100% exonerated is Zayday.
I will say that in terms of if Hester did need to recruit somebody, it's entirely possible that she recruited Chanel number 5 after that incident, which would mean that she was innocent at that point in time.
Good.
So we'll see. It could also be Pete, because again, at one point the Red Devil did incapacitate him but didn't kill him. So that to me very much signals you're not supposed to be here, but I can't kill you.
And he does have a costume.
He
outside of Boone's and Hester's?
Question mark. We're gonna get so angry if she gets killed next episode.
Oh my
we're gonna
God,
be lost.
yes.
Anyway, I'm very excited because I hate Black Friday, and so I'm very happy that there is going to be an episode of Scream Queens to illuminate why it is a terrible day.
We still got 2 hours left in Cyber Monday.
I spent my Black Friday this year sleeping, which was great. I don't know how all of the rest of the crazy world celebrated Black Friday, but I chose to sleep. And anybody who does anything differently, more power to you. But that was the best thing for me that day. How about you? Did you celebrate Black Friday in any way, shape, or form?
I think we mostly stayed in because I was in Colorado at the time and it was 9 degrees outside. And people who are watching this from colder climes are like, yeah, fuck up. Yeah.
Whatever. Call me when you're in the negatives. Anyway.
I will! I'm going back in December!
That's what they're saying, not me. Not me. I was curled up on this couch, not moving. I have no right to talk. Anyway, that just about wraps it up. Do you have anything else you want to say about this episode?
Nope. Ready for the next one.
The only thing else I want to say is that I love that Zayday was live tweeting the evening. When this murder mystery dinner theater is happening and she's live tweeting, and that to me is just hilarious. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Katie, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Kiaxet, Kiaxet.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter at _the_main_one, that's TheManGuim, and on Instagram as well. Please be sure to also follow Silver Screams on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. That's Silver_Screams for Twitter and Instagram. And again, any holiday recommendations, we want to hear from you guys. I'm going to see Krampus later on this week. I am so excited about that. So.
I'm not.
But if there happen to be any holiday horror movies like Gremlins or anything that you guys want us to talk about, or if you guys want us to do any more retro reviews, like more Goosebump reviews, we got a lot of favorable feedback on that one.
People liked those.
People like those. I would love to do like a Haunted Mask double feature. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So we want to hear from you guys what you guys think. What do you guys want to hear about? So thank you guys again so much for tuning in. We will see you all next time. Happy holidays!
Happy holidays!